It is our final recap episode of Snow Search. It's meteorologist Joe Martucci here. We went through the winter, updating you on what's to come, usually 1 to 2 weeks out. Now we take a look back at the winter that was or wasn't in the Northeast into the Mid-Atlantic. Joined with me, my weather brother Sean Sublette. Sean, you saw a little bit more snow in Richmond than 2 winters ago, but still not much down there, right?
No, it was really a winter that disappointed a lot of people. Not even a full inch of snow found here in Richmond. And this is the second year in a row we haven't even had an inch of snow. Typically, we don't get a lot anyway, seven, eight, nine, but it's been a while since we had a good snow here in Richmond for sure.
So tell us what we're going to talk about here today.
Yeah, so let's recap how it kind of played out in the Mid Atlantic and the Northeast. Nationally, you probably heard it was the warmest winter on record. We continue to have a big snow drought in the Northeast, at least during the core part of winter. And I think one of the things that kind of disappointed us the most, we really thought there would be at least one classic marquee nor'easter this winter, and that just was not the way it played out. Now, we did get some late season snow in the Northeast. Take us through some of these totals, Joe.
Yeah, so we take a look from Buffalo, New York, down to North Carolina. You're going to see those numbers get higher the higher up you go on this screen. For most places, it was a below average snow season in terms of the amount of snow that fell. But some parts in northern New England ended up with about average snowfall. Buffalo at 70.8 inches, Carlisle, PA at 24.1. That's about the average, but once you got to Cape May, Roanoke, Richmond, Greensboro, below average. Now we can break this down by month. We'll show you Buffalo here where you've had 6 months of snow from October to April. You picked up something here. Biggest in January, 45.6 inches of snow for January. Now, we should say, if you're in Buffalo, that's not unusual to get 45 inches in a month, but still a lot of snow to see in one calendar month here. We go to Glens Falls, New York, a little bit less snow during the months, excuse me. But March and April still picked up 18.1 inches, and there's going to be more to come as we go into the early first couple of days of April here, maybe through about April 15th or so. Carlisle, Pennsylvania, that big bump in January here, 14.5, 9.6 in February. Then once you get to the other three sites, the snow season really shrunk. In Cape May, near where I am, 3.9 in January, 1.4 in February. Just really 2 months of snow, and it came from three different events. Then in Roanoke, we actually had a trace of snow in November. So you might have thought, hey, maybe we get some early flakes. It'll mean something. Didn't really mean that much. 4.1 for the year. And then in Richmond, Sean, you had a little bit of snow in December, a little bit in January, and you haven't seen snow since January. Do you remember when the last time it snowed? Was it late
Uh,
January?
it barely, man. I mean, barely. It's been too long since we had a legit 4, 5, or 6 inch kind of snow. Something that's going to close schools here for a day or two. It's just been a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough down there. I know you were a PA resident for a couple of years, and you saw, snow's a little more regular up
Yeah.
there. Yeah,
Yeah, but it's kind of legit snow drought. Now we look at the map and we take the core parts of winter on this map, December, January, and February, before we got some of this very late season snow. Those are the three coldest months of the year, what we call meteorological winter. So we really wanted to hone in here. But a lot of the Western New York snow belts, even Western Pennsylvania, through the end of February, had less or more than 2 feet of snow below normal. All right. And then you see the mid-grade shades there, about a foot below normal for a lot of upstate New York and down toward West Virginia. And Glens Falls, upstate New York, doing a lot more here in the latter part of March and even early April. And of course, a whole bunch of nothing really as you went southward here into the Commonwealth of Virginia. A lot of this is explained by the El Nino. Obviously, the planet's warming. We've got that as well. But the El Nino was in play for this winter, and a lot of times the El Nino's impacts are most greatly felt during the winter. In this case, it was a very active subtropical jet, keeping things wet in the southeast, and not surprisingly, warm across the northern tier of the United States. When we look at this map in particular, I think one things that might have surprised us is that warm air extended all the way across the Great Lakes. I mean, places like up in Minnesota and Wisconsin were fully on 9 or 10 degrees warmer than normal all winter long. So you look at this and those oscillations that we talk a lot about.
Yeah.
Take us back through those, Joe.
Yeah, so we track this every week if you watch our snow search, and we usually look ahead. This time we're going to look back. So you're looking at this black line. This takes you to the beginning of December, and if you like snow, you want the cold, you want it to be negative. Now we did go negative during the first part of January here, and here in New Jersey we did see a little bit of snow during that period, but most of the winter was neutral or positive, which doesn't support that kind of pattern. In fact, the most negative was just earlier in April here. Right now, when we're recording this in early April, the most negative. Now, we have been chilly, temperatures 10 degrees below average, much of the mid-Atlantic in the Northeast, and it has been stormy, but it's early April, and that means unless you're in upstate New York, maybe far northern New Jersey or PA, it's going to be rain. So, I said this on social media. If this pattern was in January and you like snow, this was going to be really good for you. But alas, we didn't get that. Now we go to the Arctic oscillation. Pretty similar. We did actually have a dip in the first half of February. That's when we saw another storm get into New Jersey and PA and into New York. And then it kind of stayed neutral as we went through the month of March. But you see these big positive swings in December and then in late January and again in late February here. And now in early April, it's still a little bit negative. Then we go to the PNA, that's Pacific North American pattern. This is flipped. So colder, stormier is positive. We were positive at times, but anything between 0 and 1 on this chart still pretty neutral. When we got positive, it was only briefly so, and we just got above that 1 reading there. So not much really to take from the PNA this winter. We said a lot of times it was neutral and had little influence, and that was certainly the case. A lot of it was driven by the North Atlantic oscillation and the Arctic oscillation. And again, we were most negative with our NAO now in early April. So, Sean, man, even if this was, I said January, but even if it was early March, we could probably get something out of this. But it was just not enough. A little too warm this time of year to really pick up some snow in most of the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast.
Timing is everything, and the
Yes.
timing just was not right. The elements could not link up, and we didn't have a lot of cold air that stuck around for a long enough time. We thought there was a hint of something, maybe in March, but it just didn't come to pass. And we talk about the temperatures; they were so much above normal for so much of the country, especially northward from the immediate southeast and the southwest. Dramatically warm winter, especially in the upper parts of New England and into the upper part of the Midwest near the Canadian border. So, as we kind of take this whole thing home, the important thing is that we'll try again next year, really. I mean, it was the warmest winter on record, the big snow drought in the Northeast, no marquee nor'easters. So that kind of closes the book, right? So from this point, we can look toward next year. Then we could search for new things as we get into the summer. So we kind of we turn the corner and remind people what we do once we get into the heart of summer when we have no snow to talk about.
That
Joe.
is right. We go from snow to hurricanes. We take a complete 180 here. It's our series Hurricane Hunt. Yes, we like our alliterations here on our Across the Sky team. But we are, as we go into hurricane season, we're going to bring you tropical updates. It'll be as needed. It's not going to be every Wednesday like we see here. Sometimes we do it twice a day. Sometimes we go a whole week without talking about it. Basically, when you want to know what's happening with these tropical systems, we're going to have something out there for you. So Hurricane Hunt, be on the lookout for it. We'll start it as soon as there's something to talk about in the tropics.
Yeah.
And mind you, too, we have our podcast, our Across the Sky podcast, coming out on April 8th, Monday, April 8th. I should know that because that's the same day as the eclipse, the solar eclipse. But we have a special hurricane season preview with Colorado State University. They are the gold standard of hurricane forecasting along with the National Hurricane Center themselves. So we have the pleasure of speaking with them, and I hope you find this informative as we go into hurricane season. Sean, you usually say, what have we searched for in the past week or so? How about what are you searching for as we go into the warmer months?
I'm searching to be outside a little bit more and actually looking forward to spending some time at the beach here before too much longer. Water's still cold, but looking forward to that for sure.
Wonderful. I like my job here. I love it. I would also be interested in like a 6 hour per week side job as a jet ski water instructor. The ones who take you out on the tours, out on the bays.
Hmm.
I do have my boater's license. I do like jet skiing. I'm hoping that's enough to parlay it into like a one weekend day, not even a full day, just a few hours. So we'll see if I can manifest that over the next couple of months.
Very nice, very
Yeah,
nice. Got to
we'll
look
see.
into that.
We'll see.
Got to look
Fingers
into
crossed.
that.
All right, so for Sean Sublette, I'm meteorologist Joe Martucci. We really thank you for watching Snow Search all winter long. We will have our hurricane hunt as we go into hurricane season. And yes, we will be back in November, maybe early December, for Snow Search again. Take care, everybody.